Hey Instagram, it's Fiona Small here from Young Mum Support Network, back on our Friday live. Today I have a special guest that's joining me named Sheryl, who I will be going live with very, very soon. Hope you're doing well, and thank you to everyone, who has joined so far. Hope your week has been really good. I'm hoping the weekend will be a lot more kinder to us than the past few days have been. It's not been that great weather in the UK. I'm not sure what's happened to our summer. But today I'm going to be joined with a special guest by the name of Sheryl, and she's going to be telling us all things about, hey Sarah, motherhood, her podcast, what she does for a day job. What we've decided to do during this period is really reach out. I'm sure a lot of you who are new followers, I want to shout out our new followers also, because it's been amazing just engaging with so many. I'm sure you've probably seen me slipping into your DMs and just making some inquiries about yourselves. We're launching some new things with Young Mum Support Network. I can see Sheryl is on. Send us a request when you're ready, my dear. And yeah, we've got some exciting stuff coming up, and what we've decided to do is get very much more familiar with the needs of our mums and the support that we provide. For those that don't know me and maybe follow me on my personal page, I'll tell you a bit about Young Mum Support Network. So we are a registered CIC, which is a community interest company that has been going 8 years this year. So I'll be telling you more. Sheryl is here. Let's go live. Connecting. Hey!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Looking gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous.
Are you nervous? You don't look it.
Oh, thank you.
You're looking fab.
Thank you. You too. Had to make an effort.
I know, that's what I love about the Fridays, actually. It's like, if ever time you want to get glammed up on your live, it's
this is a good excuse, to make a little small effort. So, yeah.
Totally. So, tell us a bit about you, Sheryl. I've reached out to you very recently, and I must say I am so inspired by you, your journey, what you do. And I just wanted you to just, for those that are watching, and hello to everybody who's joined, if you could just give us an intro, a bit about you, and also the stuff that you're currently involved in at this moment. Over to you.
So my name's Sheryl. I'm 26 years old, 27 next month. I have a 3-year-old daughter. So I fell pregnant when I was 22, and then I had her when I was 23. And I have spoken about this a bit in my episode 1, but the situation it wasn't a straightforward one, because I met her dad when we were working together. Yes. And everything was quite fast paced. So when I fell pregnant, it wasn't a planned pregnancy, but it was sort of a situation where he was very supportive, and he kind of helped me through it, and he was there throughout my pregnancy and when I had her. But a lot of I feel like, because our relationship it didn't have the foundations that you need, I think, to maintain a relationship while having a child. Yeah. So a lot of things started to creep in towards the end of my pregnancy, and then when I had her, even though he was still supportive, and just a lot of external factors, and we ended up breaking up. So I became like a single mum. Well, solo mum. I know you like to use the term solo mum.
That's right.
Yeah. I do co-parent, but majority of the time I have her, and, being a mum is hard. It's very hard. I feel like, as much as mums and dads are both parents, I feel like it's more life-changing for us mums than it is for us dads. And for a long time, I had to come to terms with that. I didn't understand, why is my life changing so much and your life is practically carrying on the way it was before. And it used to really get to me, but I've come to terms with it. And if I'm being honest, I'm actually happy how my daughter has changed my life, because I feel like she's helped me grow so much. I feel like I'm a completely different person now as a mum than what I was before I had her. And even though having all of these responsibilities can feel like a huge weight on my shoulders, I feel like I wouldn't have it any other way, because it's forced me to grow. And I feel like maybe if I didn't have her, I wouldn't have grown as much as I have now, because I wouldn't have, I mean, I'm a motivated, I'm a motivated person, but I feel like having her, she's my reason. So anytime I'm feeling lazy, or I'm feeling like I don't want to do something, or I'll put it off till later, I'm just like, no, I need to do this for her, because at the end of the day, I'm her mum, and she's dependent on me.
That's right. And it's so interesting that you say that, because it's oftentimes when we have life-changing experiences, especially enter into motherhood. And thank you for sharing. Welcome to everybody who's joined us, Fiona Small. And this is Sheryl, who is sharing her story. And Sheryl, I echo what you're saying. I've been a solo mum for quite a while. My daughter's going to be 16 this year. And when I entered into motherhood and had her on my own, first time experience of being a mum, it's never been something that has been an easy journey. But, you know, with time and acceptance, and I also say ownership, I always believe that oftentimes what we need to do is take ownership and responsibility for our own selves and our own actions, as opposed to kind of playing the blame game, which sometimes can be so easy to do. But acceptance, you see what acceptance does, it releases you, and it enables you to, in fact, kind of crack on and accept what's actually presented to you. And it gives you kind of like a bit more of a better direction to focus on, because sometimes we focus on the things that are out of our control. And once we kind of just shift that narrative and be like, actually, what's within my control? This pregnancy, this baby, this kind of new life, motherhood, birth, whatever it is that you've got to prepare yourself for, that is what is within your control. So, you know, respect to you for really kind of allowing for your circumstances not to dictate and determine what then comes after. And what you've done, and like many of us mums do, we've used that as our power, because oftentimes we turn our pain into purpose, and our pain can also develop our power, because you now have your young child who's 3 years old, who is your mirror, especially our daughters. You have a responsibility to think, well, I now have a bigger responsibility to this child.
Because she's watching me, especially now. I see it more so. Like, she copies things that I say. She copies things that I do, even small things. Right now, it's like if I'm doing my makeup, she wants me to do hers. But as small as that, she's picking up things from me. So I also want her to, you know, have that ambition and that drive as well to go and get things for herself. So definitely.
Absolutely. I've got here, it says things become more easier when you focus on the things that you can do and make your child's life better. So true, because, you know, life, I always say to people, life happens. And oftentimes we don't kind of, you know, it wasn't my kind of plan to say, okay, by the time I'm 24, I'm going to become a single mom. And that wasn't what the roadmap was. But you know what? This is what happened. So share with me now a bit about your personal, hey, Lorna, your personal kind of journey, because a lot of people probably only know a bit about your podcast. I'm not sure how much know about that, but you've also got your professional career as well. So tell me a bit about your podcast and what inspired you to begin that.
Over the last 3 years, it's been like an up and down journey. And I just felt like I was looking a lot, because none of my friends have children. So I was sort of relying on what I saw on social media. And I feel like social media gives you a false representation of what motherhood was like. And I would feel alone, like, a lot of the time. And I would talk to my friends, and my friends, like, they're great. But at the same time, they don't know fully the extent of what I'm going through, because they're not mums yet. So I just started to think, well, I wanted like an outlet. I wanted to be able to kind of share what I was going through, and to see if there's any other mums that are experiencing it, because I'm sure that there are. But for a long time, I felt like I was the only one going through certain things. I was the only one feeling this way. And like, what you see on social media is everyone makes it look like it's fun, and you dress up your kids and this and that, and that's not what it is. I mean, that's a part of it. But when I was feeling sad and I'm feeling low, I was thinking, is it normal for me to feel this way? Because everyone else seems to know what they're doing. And I'm getting a bit stressed out about it, you know. So yeah, that was sort of my reason for starting the podcast. I just wanted an outlet to share my personal experiences, to create an open dialogue with other mums, and then to get other guests on the show, because everyone's situation is different. So my situation is different from another mum's. Like some mums, I don't know, they might still be in relationships with their children's father, but they're still going through it. And there's other mums where maybe they're working from home, but that's not the circumstance they want. And other mums are happy to work from home. So I just thought, why don't I create this podcast, create an open dialogue, hear from different people sharing their stories? Because I feel like from each person's story, you can take something from it. And it also helps you to not feel like you're on your own, because I felt like I was on my own for so long.
And your podcast is amazing. I mean, I listened to episode 1. That's how I found you, in fact, because I've been, and for those who I've reached out to very recently online, you know that I've kind of been just sliding up in the DMs and stalking some of the young mums. I'm like, you know what, we're looking for champions at the moment for the organisation. And I listened to your podcast, and the way how you articulated yourself and how real, and it was so authentic. I listened to you like I listened to somebody I knew, and I could really identify with your story. It took me back like almost 13 years, because like I said, my daughter will be 16 this year. And what I heard from you is somebody that is not bitter. You're not a, you know, oftentimes our situations and circumstances can really make us feel bitter and angry and hard done by, and why me, or how dare this person violate me. But what you've done is you've really released yourself from it. And I really hope that those that do listen to your podcast, who might be going through similar circumstances, really take from that, because how we make ourselves better and how we kind of release ourselves from some of the pains and the hurts is by the response that how we respond to it, but also how we hear how another person has managed their stuff. And what you've done by being so authentic, by being so open and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because you've shared your truth, and sharing your truth, it's very scary. So, you know, kudos to you, my dear, to be able to be such a open individual who I'm looking forward to what's to come with that podcast, because I know that, as you rightly just said, that, you know, social media will allow for you to think, wow, is it just me, or am I not the one living my best life too, or how comes everybody looks like they've got it so together? Behind closed doors is not the reality. And I often say to people, don't let social media fool you. Don't, all of us, you see the contouring eyebrows and the MAC, well, don't let it fool you, you know, because once you strip off those layers and you really look into what's really going on, it's not always as what it seems. So we really need to be authentic. We need to be able to share our stuff and be able to create platforms like what you've done, to listen to somebody else's story, because this is how you get the help. This is how you are able to really feel like, you know what, I'm not alone in this. Because motherhood can be an isolating journey.
It can be completely, especially when you're, like, if you're a single mum and when you're at home alone with your child or your children, and they're really, you know, they're giving you a hard time, you could feel so alone, and people don't understand it.
That's
they
right.
Don't understand it.
It's funny, my organisation, what we've been doing through Young Mum Support Network is providing phone support. It's like a bit of what we'd call talking therapy, where we've been supporting mums who are quite low, quite isolated, and are feeling like, you know what, I've got nobody. Because there's some mums who, because of circumstances and situations regarding their housing, they're having to be relocated out of their kind of area or where their local support network is. So they know nobody, and because of financial struggles or difficulties, they're not able to commute back to their areas because they don't have the finances. So we've been providing like phone support and talking to them, and just by, you know, they say a problem shared is a problem halved, and sometimes just by sharing and talking, especially when you find a safe space, oftentimes we need to find our safe spaces where you've got your confidence, you've got your people that I can bounce off of and know that whatever I share with you is trusted and it's confidential, and I know that you're not going to go and take it and use it against me, you know, because oftentimes the reason why we're so proud and we won't share if we've got personal things going on is because we don't have those trusted spaces, which is a real shame. And I'm really trying to encourage more of that, because we see in that mental health and well-being, and, you know, people who have struggled with so many different, especially during COVID. If ever time our well-being is got to be the priority, it's during this pandemic that we've been
Exactly.
experiencing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So tell us about your professional career, because you really surprised me when I spoke to you on the phone. Tell me about what you do as a J job. This is going to shock you all, by the way.
I know. Whenever I tell people what I do, they don't believe me. But so my profession, drum roll, I'm a teacher. So I work in a secondary school, and I work with children aged 11 to 18, and I teach maths, which also surprises people, because a lot of people wouldn't expect me to teach maths, because a lot of people don't like maths. But yeah, that's what I do. And I was doing that before I had my daughter. I think I was doing it for about 2 years before I had her, and then I fell pregnant. And since I've had her, if I'm being honest, having her kind of made me want to go for promotions and want to go for more. Before I had her, I was so complacent. I wasn't even thinking, oh, let me try and progress. I was just, okay, I'll sit here. Like, there was no reason for me in my head. I was just complacent. But now I'm so motivated to keep pushing myself and to keep going and getting more. And doing that, like I said in my first podcast, when I did return from maternity leave, I progressed. I got a promotion within that year, before the end of the first year. I know it was a big deal for me, because I wasn't even expecting it. It wasn't even a thing where I was actually looking for it, but you know, God's will, it worked out the way it was meant to. So
amen. Well done. That is amazing. So when you shop, because that's like you know, there's some people that have their party tricks. That's probably like your party trick, where you pull it out the bag, where, oh, by the way, I'm a teacher. Yes, I'm a young mum, but let me just tell you something else about me. I'm a teacher, and guess what? I teach maths. People like, mic drop. Did she just
they don't believe me. They actually don't believe. Their first thing is like, you're a teacher. How do the kids respond to you? But you'd be surprised. Like, when I'm at work, like, the kids respect me, and I have a really good relationship with my kids. Like, I love working with kids. I prefer the older kids, because I've got my daughter at home to stress me out. So I prefer working with the older kids, and they genuinely respect me, and they see me as someone that they can speak to. And also, because I think maybe because I'm also younger, they can relate to me more, so they're more willing to pay attention when I'm teaching them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I make sure that my lessons are also relatable as well.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, that's fantastic, because that's a really good segue, because we're going to also do another session with you, because I'm a mother of a 15-year-old who's a year 10 child, and I can say that it's a really strange time. I mean, my sister is also a teacher. She teaches history. She's head of history, and she had a conversation with me yesterday and saying, so what's the plan, you know, for Natila? What are you planning to? And I felt a bit pressured, because I was like, well, you're the teacher in family. Well, help out your niece.
You tell
me. Yeah, you tell me, because and I think, and it made me feel this morning like, wow, my sister actually had a point, because I'm sure, like many other parents with children in year 10 and 11, it's been a challenging time. I suppose year 11s is very different, because they got predicted grades, but the year 10 children,
it's impacting them more, because it's uncertain what's going to happen between now and September, what's going to happen between now and next year. So it's a very daunting experience. And I know even for my year 10s, they're overwhelmed and they're nervous, because as much as they're working from home, not everyone learns that way. A lot of people, me personally, I learn when someone is teaching me, like having that interaction. If I'm just sat at a computer and I'm reading notes or I'm watching videos, I only kind of retain a certain amount of that.
That's right.
So it's had a big impact on them, and it's gonna be stressful when September comes for teachers and for students. But
we're gonna pick up on that as well, because I think we should definitely do a live specific for those who have children going into year 11 in September, and maybe some preparation during the 6 weeks holiday. I think would be certainly beneficial. But we want to get back onto the podcast now. So what is the kind of what's the direction? Where do you want to take it? And what would you say, you know, because obviously you've started it now. And one of the biggest things is starting, and welcome to everybody who has tuned in and joined. Sometimes it's tough to get started because life gets in the way, distractions gets in the way, motherhood gets in the way. Hello, but you've made it happen. And I love kind of action takers like yourself who, you know, put the excuses aside and say, look, we got stuff to do. I want to get my message out there. What is the plan for the podcast and where do you see it going?
Well, the plan, my vision is that the podcast will continue growing, and more people will become aware of it. And I'm going to continue to share my personal stories because I've gone through a lot. Right now, what I've shared, I've only released 2 episodes, and that's sort of on the surface. And I feel like as my following grows, and I have more parents or more mummies and daddies sort of communicating with me and sharing stuff, I'll feel more comfortable to delve more into like what I've gone through. And I just want my podcast to sort of touch other mums and to also make other mums feel like they can message me and know that, okay, she's gone through it and I'm going through it, so let's both kind of connect, that sort of thing. And I want to get other mums on the show. This Sunday, I actually have a dad on the show because I thought it would be nice to switch it up a bit because personally, I get frustrated with dads, right? I do. So I just thought, you know what, let me hear from a male's perspective because as females, sometimes we're so headstrong and we feel like, no, this has to be this has to be that, because I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like sometimes we're a bit more rational with our thinking, right? But at the same time, as much as I think that, I also need to understand men have a perspective on it as well. So I thought this week I'm going to have a dad speaking on from his experiences as a dad and co-parenting with the mother of his kids. And so from my podcast, it's not just for single mums. I focus on being like a solo mum because I am one, but it's open to all mums because I feel regardless of what your situation is, being a mum is hard either way. And there are similarities in all of our situations. So it's open to mums, it's open to dads, it's open to expectant mums, expectant dads, people who maybe they're not at a stage where they want kids yet, but they just want an insight into what it is really like. Because if I had someone kind of telling me what motherhood was really like, I don't know. I'm thankful for the situation I'm in, don't get me wrong, but it's good to know these things because when you walk into something blindly, it's a big shock.
There's no preparation, and I'm glad that you've actually opened up on that, because even oftentimes my organisation, we get things like, what about dads, how comes everything is for mums? And it's really important that we do have these conversations. And one of the things that I think would be great to do, and I'd love to work with you on this, is looking at a co-parenting manual, because co-parenting is a real challenge at times. Like it cannot, as much as in the ideal you want it to be child-centered and let's take our emotions out of it and let's focus on the child, it doesn't always work that way. And I think when two people who are mature enough to recognize, okay, we're no longer in a relationship anymore, however, we do have to still parent this child. How can we come together, communicate effectively, and work together on raising this child stable, solid, with, you know, the resilience and all the kind of components that we need for our children to survive in this big wide world out there, you know? So we must talk about that off air as well. And I'm looking forward to hearing that podcast with the dad. And well done for you to bringing in a dad. And by the way, you know, like you've rightly said, it's not just about, because some people think when you say solo mum, you're anti-men or you're men bashing. Listen, it's not about that. Sometimes relationships don't work. However, you're still able to communicate. It doesn't mean, I always say to people, I'm not married and I'm a solo mum, but I still believe in the fairy tale. Hello, I'm still
Me too. Husband's coming. He's on his way. He's on his way. Yeah, he's coming.
Yeah, totally. And don't you find sometimes even just the kind of title being a solo mum, and because kind of there's like a big,
it's like a stereotype attached to it.
Yeah, totally. Because I think there's a married movement at the moment. Everyone's married, you know. And if you're not careful, because you are a solo mum, you can have imposter syndrome at times and think, oh my gosh, well, you know, I don't quite have it like them, and I wish that was my situation. There's times when, I'll be honest with you, in the past, I felt really like, oh man, I failed. How is it that, you know, everybody around me, or my daughter's peers or friendship groups, they're all two-parent married families, and I'm just rocking up, me, one, and my daughter. And I had to let go of that and accept my situation, because you can really beat yourself up about situations that is totally out of your control.
Out of your control. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, I've gone through those phases as well, but I feel like I'm at a place now where I can't compare myself to other people's situations, because behind closed doors, I don't know what's going on. And the same way for me, behind closed doors, people don't know what's going on. So I have to just be content with my situation. I'm trusting God, and I know everything is working out the way He intended for it to. So you just have to stay positive, and you've just got to make the best out of your situation.
Absolutely. And just believe that everything that you've gone through, you know, there's a saying that says you grow through what you go through. And I think everything that you've gone through, it shapes you, it develops your character, it shows you. And as you said, I believe that God doesn't make mistakes, and anything that is happening, He will work it out for good, you know, for you.
100%.
So definitely
100%.
We've got, and just have faith. A lot of people who might be, and this is just, you know, in closing, just to say that those that are on, if you do have any questions, do post them. I'm looking at a few of the comments here as well. But if you do have any questions, or you want some links for the podcast, definitely I will be tagging Sheryl. Oh, I turned my camera around. Let me flip it back. I will be tagging Sheryl as well. But I think what's really important is to, one, identify that you're not alone. Definitely reach out for help, support, advice. Don't stay in isolation. It's so easy to do that, but you know, when you've got your just own thoughts running around in your mind, it doesn't help. So
the mind is so powerful.
Totally.
The mind is so powerful, but you have to try and overcome it.
Yeah, absolutely. So share with us your social handles as well, Sheryl, where people can find you, and when the next podcast will be released. So just share with us all of your social handles.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Mummy Memoirs Podcast. I release episodes every Sunday at 7 p.m. And I also release teasers in the lead up to that. So today I'll be releasing some visual teasers for the dad episode that's coming up. Yeah, so just keep an eye out, follow my page. I also, every morning I post like inspirational mummy quotes. Sometimes they're funny quotes, but just things that are just relatable. And honestly, I just want as many mums as possible. Feel free to message me through Instagram, or share like your thoughts when you listen to an episode. If there's something you agree with, or something, even if you disagree, if you've gone through something similar or you haven't, just continue messaging, because when I read your comments, it helps me. It's helpful for me, if I'm being honest. It's therapeutic for me, because it just makes me think, okay, I actually am not the only person going through this. And hearing from mums that I don't even know, like, to take that time to message me, it gives me a good feeling. So if I'm ever feeling a bit low and I see like a message from another mummy that I don't know, I just get happy. I'm just so excited, like, oh, I've got a mummy that messaged me, she listened to my podcast, and she kind of could relate to it. So,
and it's amazing. It really is. I certainly encourage it. And, you know, I'm looking forward to what is going to come. And I'd like to also announce that Sheryl has become one of our Young Mum Support Network champions and ambassadors. So I'll be featuring you on our site as well with a profile, because we are, like I just mentioned in the start of this, we are profiling some of the young mum champions, the ones that, you know, the unspoken heroes, the ones that are out there doing it, doing life, doing motherhood, still working and creating. What I love what you've done, you've created your own platform through your own story and your own personal experiences. And once we stay authentic to our stories and our experiences, and we can share with others, this is where we're able to really help those that are in need. And this is what Young Mum Support Network has always been built on. It's always been built on the needs of those mums that we want to reach out to, we want to engage with, the ones that are isolated, the ones that don't have a network around them. You know how important it is to have support, especially during raising children. I believe in the village. We need a village more than ever.
We need it. We actually did it. Yeah.
Totally. So this is what we're here to create. So yeah, no, absolutely. I can see that Lorna said, well done as a new ambassador. You're getting a round of applause as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, you have an amazing day, my darling. It's been absolutely amazing. I know that you're saying that you were nervous. There's no way
I
you
was
nervous.
nervous. I was nervous. This is my first Insta Live. I've never done it before.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on your platform.
You're very welcome. Awesome. You're very welcome. And I'll be sharing this on our main page as well. And we'll look out for more. And I'll be definitely bringing you back to talk to secondary school mums of year 10 students, because I think that's going to be a fundamentally important one as well.
Thank you.
All right.
For
have a good
having me.
one. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.